This is your friendly music station, KIXI. Dial 91 AM or 96 FM, Seattle.
12 midnight.
CBS News. There's a new report claiming that former White House counsel John Dean used a top official of the Justice Department to get information about the Watergate probe. This is Doug Poling reporting on the CBS Radio Network. The Associated Press quotes sources as saying Watergate prosecutors involved in the original probe stopped giving information to Assistant Attorney General Henry Peterson because Peterson was passing the information to the White House. AP says its sources emphasized Peterson was being used by John Dean. The Dean told Peterson the information was wanted by President Nixon, when in fact Dean was passing the material on to potential Watergate defendants. The three major broadcast networks say they are making plans to install cameras and microphones to cover the hearings of the House Judiciary Committee on the impeachment of President Nixon. The networks are putting in their equipment but have not announced a final decision on whether to broadcast the proceedings live. On Thursday, the committee voted to allow live broadcast coverage of the hearings. More news after this message.
Your attention, please. Now announcing Exploring America 74 departures for Dodge City, Kansas, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, Turkey Run Farm, Virginia, Hadlock Farm.
Did you hear that? It's the brand new Exploring America weekend with more fascinating places to visit this year. Exploring America 74 with Charles Carrault, a 30 broadcast weekend special, this Saturday and Sunday, the 4th and 5th, on the CBS Radio Network.
Secretary of State Kissinger will be leaving Israel shortly, probably less than a few hours from now, to continue his effort to get Israel and Syria to pull back their armies along the Golan Heights. Kissinger flies to Damascus to discuss it with Syrian leaders. In Jerusalem, Israeli Foreign Minister Abba Eban said this about his talks Thursday with Kissinger.
We've had a very comprehensive review of all the elements involved in the Syrian-Israeli disengagement agreement. The discussion was very thorough, very fundamental, and very friendly in its atmosphere. We haven't reached the end of that discussion. We're continuing and we're working right up until Secretary Kissinger's departure.
As the talking continues, so does the fighting. Israel says its artillery landed within 9 miles of Damascus, and Israeli planes attacked Palestinian guerrilla bases on the Lebanese side of Mount Hermon. These late items from San Francisco. FBI agents raided an apartment Thursday apparently used by the Symbionese Liberation Army as a hideout following a bank robbery last month. The FBI was tipped about the incident, but newsmen who were on the scene for the surprise raid said the agents and police found clothing used in the bank holdup by the kidnappers of Patricia Hearst. The abandoned apartment in San Francisco's Western Addition section was about 8 minutes from the bank that was robbed. This other item, also a late item from San Francisco. 4 of 7 men arrested in connection with the zebra killings were released Thursday night, according to San Francisco police. Police Sergeant William Kearney said the men were freed because it became evident during the course of the investigation that no further proceedings against them are feasible at this time. He identified those released as Thomas Manny, 31, former star football player at San Francisco State University in the early 60s, Clarence Jamerson, 37, Dwight Stallings, 28, and Edgar Burton, 22. The Soviet Union has demanded China immediately return a Soviet helicopter and its 3-man crew forced down over China in mid-March. In a harshly worded statement, the Russians said if China does not return the chopper and its crew, Peking will suffer what Moscow terms the inevitable consequence. Now this message.
Even if someone served them a slice of beef, they couldn't bite into it. Their teeth are too weak. I'm not talking about some people off in Africa or Asia. I'm talking about Americans, American children. It's tragic how many thousands of them are in this country whose teeth will literally rot in their mouths because they'll never receive basic dental care. They may not even own a toothbrush. What hurts is that it takes so very little for any one of us to help them. The same dollar, for instance, that buys you 2 packs of cigarettes can buy 3 American children the first toothbrushes they've ever owned. I'm Cliff Robertson. Won't you give up some cigarettes so some American children can have their first toothbrush? Send your dollar to Americans for Children's Relief, Box 5050, Stamford, Connecticut. Box 5050, Stamford, Connecticut. $1. And, of course, if you can afford more, give more.
Trivia fans, take note of this item. The New Jersey State Legislature has a bill pending to make the honeybee the official state insect. State Senator Joseph Merlino says there are more than 45,000 honeybee colonies in New Jersey, more honeybees per square mile than any state except California. Merlino may be buzzing with excitement over the bill, but other lawmakers might take the sting out of it. Doug Poling, CBS News.